Misfits, Egypt versus Jade Jones, the KO, a breakdown, hip-hop legend parents. Misfits boxing, the night an Olympic champion fought hip-hop royalty's daughter. When people heard about this Misfits boxing match, a lot of them asked the same questions. How did the daughter of two hip-hop legends end up fighting a two-time Olympic champion? For me, Heard making a decision when reflection, and even just before the fight, was a poor decision. Getting 2 golds at Taekwondo level at the Olympics is no mean feat. Jade Jones is no slouch. But this fight wasn't just influencer boxing. It was a clash between two completely different worlds. On the one side, you had a fighter who'd spent her life chasing Olympic gold. On the other, you had someone who grew up surrounded by rap icons, reality TV cameras, and music industry fame. And somehow, their paths collided in a boxing ring. This is the story of Jade Jones versus Egypt Chris. Before Egypt Chris ever stepped near a boxing ring, she was already known for something else. Her last name, because Egypt wasn't just another reality TV personality. She was born into one of the most famous hip-hop families in America. Egypt Janeri Chris was born in 1998 to two huge figures in rap music. Her father was Anthony Treach Chris, the frontman of the legendary hip-hop group Naughty by Nature, and her mother, Sandra Pepa Denton, one of the half of the iconic rapper duo Salt and Pepper. Jamaican, you know? If you know hip-hop history, those names are massive. Salt and Pepper helped define female rap in the late 1980s and 1990s with songs like Push It and Shoot. Meanwhile, Naughty by Nature became famous for hits like OPP and Hip Hop Hooray. In other words, Egypt grew up surrounded by platinum records, world tours, and hip-hop legends. But her parades... So Treach and Pepa married in 1999, and they did break up eventually, and they had one daughter, Egypt. And she grew up as a child of two music superstars, came with a strange mix of privilege and pressure. On the one hand, she had access to opportunities most people can only dream about, but on the other hand, she constantly lived in the shadow of her parents' fame. Her childhood wasn't private, and as she got older, television cameras followed her life, and that's how she became one of the main cast members of the reality TV show Growing Up Hiphop. The show focused on the children of famous rappers and documented their attempts to build hip careers of their own. Other cast members included the children of artists like Rev Run, Master P and Jam Master J. The entire concept of the show was simple. What happens when the kids of hip-hop legends try to escape their parents' shadows? For Egypt, the challenge was obvious. She didn't want people to just see her as Pepa and Treach's daughter. She wanted to create her own identity. On the show, viewers watched her try different things: music, acting, entrepreneurship, and at one point she even started her own jewelry line aimed at young women who wanted independence and financial freedom. But reality TV also brought drama. There were some arguments with mom, relationship problems, and the constant pressure of living under public scrutiny. Being the daughter of hip-hop legends meant people were always watching and always judging. One of the most interesting parts of Egypt's story was her relationship with her parents. Both Pepa and Treach remained involved in the life, and sometimes they had very different opinions about what she should do. Her mother, Pepa, often appeared protective, sometimes even strict, some people think, while Treach had his own perspective shaped by growing up in the rougher side of hip-hop culture, and fans of the show often saw Egypt stuck between the two. There were also moments that showed how unusual her upbringing really was. For example, she once told a story about realising just how famous her mother was when she was a kid, and Pepa showed up at her school wearing a fur coat and sunglasses to drop off something she forgot. That's when the other students suddenly realised Egypt's mum wasn't just another parent, she was a global rap star. Moments like that defined Egypt's life, normal but not really normal. Like many children of celebrities, Egypt wanted to make a name for herself in entertainment. She explored acting, auditioned for roles, and at one point even auditioned to play her own mother in a Salt and Pepper biopic. She didn't get the part apparently, but she still appeared in the project in a smaller role. She also pursued music, influenced heavily by both her parents. But building a career when your parents are legends is complicated. People expect greatness and they compare everything you do to what came before. So Egypt spent years trying to figure out exactly who she really wanted to be. Reality star, singer, entrepreneur, or something else entirely. Eventually, something unexpected entered the picture: fighting. Egypt's interest in combat sports. Now, people don't associate that with her, but during interviews and episodes of reality TV, she realised something surprising. She had started training fighting, and at one point she even mentioned doing the amateur training connected to MMA. Treach wasn't thrilled about it, but she went on. No parent wants their children getting punched in the face for a living, and you may have seen clips of the fight. It was no joke. Misfits boxing. In the mid-2020s, influencer boxing exploded. Events featuring YouTubers, TikTok stars and internet personalities started selling out arenas. And one of the biggest promotions behind the movement was Misfits. The idea behind Misfits was simple: create wild, entertaining fights between people from different worlds. Sometimes it was YouTubers, sometimes athletes, sometimes celebrities, but every now and then they created a match that made fans stop and say, wait, what? And that's exactly what happened when they announced a fight between Egypt Chris and Jade Jones. Jade Jones wasn't just another athlete. She's one of the greatest taekwondo fighters in history. She won Olympic gold medals in the 2012 London Olympics and the 2016 Rio Olympics, becoming a two-time Olympic champion. Her nickname in combat sports was the Headhunter because she was famous for devastating head kicks. For years, she dominated international taekwondo competitions, but after competing at multiple Olympic Games, she started thinking about a new challenge: boxing. Switching sports after decades in another discipline is incredibly difficult. Taekwondo relies mostly on kicks and point scoring. Boxing is entirely focused on punches, but elite athletes often believe they can adapt, and Jade Jones believed she could become a champion in another sport. When the fight was announced, fans immediately noticed the imbalance. On one side, a two-time Olympic champion. On the other side, a reality TV personality. Some people criticised the matchup. They said it looked unfair. Others argued that Misfits boxing was about entertainment first, and technically, both fighters agreed to the fight, so the event moved forward. The fight took place in Derby, England, as part of a Misfits boxing event. As the bell rang, the difference in experience became clear. Even though Jade Jones was new to boxing, she still had the instincts of an elite fighter. Her movement was sharp, her timing was controlled, her confidence was obvious. Egypt tried to move around the ring and throw punches, but Jones stayed calm, watching carefully, waiting for the right moment, and that moment came quickly. In the second round, Jade Jones landed a powerful left hand. Egypt stumbled. The Olympic champion immediately followed up with another combination. Two more punches connected, and suddenly Egypt Chris fell forward onto the canvas, face first. The referee stepped in. The fight was over, just like that. For Jade Jones, it was the perfect debut. For Egypt Chris, it's a brutal introduction to the realities of combat sport. The knockout spread quickly across social media. Clips of the finish went viral. Some people praised Jade Jones for an impressive debut. Others questioned whether the fight should have been made in the first place. But moments like this are exactly what influencer boxing thrives on: unexpected matchups, viral knockouts, and debates that keep fans talking long after the fight ends. What makes this fight so fascinating is the contrast between the two fighters. Jade Jones grew up in Olympic training facilities. Her life revolved around discipline, competition, and world championships. Egypt Chris grew up surrounded by music, studios, concert, and reality TV cameras. Two completely different paths, two completely different worlds. Yet for a few minutes inside a boxing ring, these worlds collide. Egypt Chris will probably be always known as the daughter of Up Hiphop legends, but stepping into a boxing ring takes courage, win or lose. Meanwhile, Jade Jones showed that elite fighters can transition into new sports and still dominate. And that's what makes combat sport so unpredictable. You never know when two completely different lives will meet in the same ring. Done talking. But yeah, big up everybody. Make sure you like, share, comment and subscribe. Yeah, man, that was interesting. Hey, big up Egypt. That was brave of her facing the two-time Olympic champion. Like, when you're a fighter, yeah, when you're Olympic fighter with 2 championships at gold, not any bronze or anything like that, gold, you can fight. So often people will do circular training around an event. So you obviously you're focused on taekwondo, but she's definitely gonna have box at some point, because you want to have a complete elite fighting package. So I don't know, maybe that was a mistake for Egypt, I can't lie, but big you up Egypt. Great singer. You're a very talented young lady. So big up you and all of your endeavours in the future. Obviously, big up Pepa, big up Treach, hip hop legends. Absolutely, Salt and Pepper, Naughty by Nature, them things there. So yeah, man, that was an interesting fight, but I saw it going on. And for now, I'm done talking.